Miss Nelson, and today we're going to do a number talk, and the focus is three-digit addition, and it's a word problem. Before we get started, let's go over our success criteria. So our goal for today is to make sense of a math story. And so you need to figure out how are you going to be successful when you reach your goal. Our success criteria is down below. 1, you'll be able to draw a visual representation. 2, you can write an equation. 3, you can determine what each quantity represents and label the equation. And 4, you can answer the question in a sentence. If you can do all 4 of these things, you know that you'll be successful in making sense of a math story. Let's get started. Miss Nelson baked 342 cookies yesterday. Camila wanted to help her and baked 112 more. How many cookies did they bake all together? Read the problem to yourself. What is this math story about? So when we focus on what the math story is about, we're not really talking about numbers. We're talking about what's happening in the story. So reread it back to yourself and think about, what is this math story about? You should have said something along the lines of, this math story is about Camila and Miss Nelson baking cookies. What are the quantities and what do they represent? Well, let's think about that. A quantity is a number or an amount. So go back to the text and figure out what quantities or amounts do you see in the text? I see one right here, 342. What does the 342 represent? The 342 represents Miss Nelson baked 342 cookies yesterday. So it represents the amount of cookies Miss Nelson baked. Do you see any other quantities in here? I do. 112. Well, what does 112 represent? The 112, Camila wanted to help her and baked 112 more. So the quantity 112 represents the amount of cookies Camila baked. Now I have one last sentence right here, but I don't see any more quantities or amounts. Oh, that's right. There's always a missing quantity. That's going to be our answer. So let's see. We know Miss Nelson baked 342 cookies. We know Camila baked 112 more. Oh, how many cookies did they bake all together? So that unknown quantity, and normally we put a question mark. So the quantity blank represents the amount of cookies they baked all together. So now we have all of our quantities and amounts and what they represent. What operation would you use to solve? Well, I know an operation means either addition or subtraction. So if I go back to the text, I need to look for key words that are going to tell me if I'm going to use addition or subtraction. So go back to the text and see. I see a keyword right here. I see the keyword more. To me, sometimes when I hear that word more, I think addition. What operation would you use and why? I also see all together. So if I see that all together, that makes me want to put quantities together, which also makes me think of addition as well. What is this math story asking you to find out? Well, if it's asking me to find something, that means it must be asking me a question. Do you guys see a question in this math story? Oh, I do. I see it right here. I see the question mark. It says, how many cookies did they bake altogether? So if you look here, we know our question is, how many cookies did they bake altogether? That's what we're trying to find out. So this math story is asking me to find out how many cookies did they bake all together? All right, now it's your turn. I'll read the prompt one more time. Miss Nelson baked 342 cookies yesterday. Camila wanted to help her and baked 112 more. How many cookies did they bake altogether? Make sure when you go to solve, you draw a model, you have an equation with labels, and you answer the question in a sentence. And don't forget, you need to have the success criteria. If you can do all four things, you know that you are successful in being able to make sense of a math story. Thanks for watching.